I'm Big Sexy Brian Bales from Super Geeky Playdate, a proud member of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the show you're listening to now. The opinions expressed are those of each individual host. Check out all the other podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com and get ready because geekiness begins in 3, 2, 1.
You are listening to the Starling Tribune, a podcast dedicated to the Arrow TV show.
This guy gets more airtime than the Kardashians, right?
This podcast is not produced or maintained by the CW, Warner Brothers Television, CTV, or DC Comics. All characters, situations, and stories are the properties of Time Warner. I am the Oracle, and this is your Tribune.
Welcome back to Earth 2's favorite newspaper, the Starling Tribune. I am the chief editor tonight. My friends call me SP, and your other reporters for this episode number 170 of the Starling Tribune are Chris.
I'm Batman.
Okay, Mr. Bane. And Michelle.
It's October. Like October. As in, there's like only 3 months left to this year.
Yay!
It's like yesterday it was March or something. It was like, where did the summer go?
And I'm still working on my car. Okay. This podcast is recorded on Sunday, October 1st, 2017, live via geeks.live. Remember, our video newspaper is full of spoilers, facts, and speculations about Arrow and the rest of the DC TV movie and comic universes.
That's right, and tonight we'll be discussing our predictions for the upcoming seasons of The Flash and Supergirl, in addition to news, interviews, articles, and announcements that have dropped recently that could and very well impact future episodes of Arrow, as well as the side shows we sometimes discuss: The Flash, Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow, Vixen, Constantine, keep your fingers crossed, and maybe even Black Lightning.
If you're new to the show, thank you for searching us out on the internet and joining us. After the show, you can check out our content at GonnaGeek.com, where you can also find other geeky videos, podcasts, and articles.
If you're new to the show, thank you very much for joining us. I just want to say that because Michelle gets to say that every week and I don't, but I want to say thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate you listening to the show. With that, thanks, guys. Michelle, I think it's time to tell people what we're talking about this week.
Yes, we're going to be giving our predictions for The Flash and Supergirl. We're going to start with The Flash. Season 3 ended with Barry going off into, well, not the sunset, but the Speed Force after time traveling back and causing Flashpoint and traveling some more. And then there was the fight with Savitar, and would Iris die or not? But she didn't die. So basically, we start the season. Season 4 starts 6 months in the future. And during this time, Iris has Step Up, kind of leading the group. Cisco and Caitlin and Wally are, trying to keep the peace in Central City. And there's other things that we know, like we know Barry's going to come back, right away. He's going to have like a new suit. He's supposed to be reborn and recharged. He's supposed to be wiser and a little bit older. And we're supposed to be a little bit more lighthearted this season because last season was darkety dark, dark, dark. And he's supposed to marry Iris and all these other wonderful things. Julian is gone, but we're going to see Gypsy. We're going to meet her father, Breacher. There's going to be other villains, including the mechanic and Blacksmith. We're going to meet Elongated Man, and the big bad this season is supposed to be the Thinker. And boy, we really know a lot. And I don't know if it's because I read so much news or what, but I sort of feel like I've watched season 4 of The Flash already. Is this just me?
No, I think they kind of have gone news overboard, especially in comparison to shows like Arrow, where Arrow, they've been like, well, here's a little tease for you. We're going to drop this guy in there, but I don't know if that guy's dead on the island or not. And part of me thinks they almost had to do it with Flash because people were kind of getting tired of the whole, another speedster shtick. They need to give them something to get excited about. Now, do I think it's a good idea? Maybe. It's got people interested at least.
I was going to say just about the same thing. You're on the tails of a very dark and heavy season last year. And Barry, it didn't end in a place where you're like, oh, I'm really excited about the next year. It ended in a place where it could have, and I know it wasn't meant to be at all, but it could have been a series finale last year. I mean, there's nothing to bring you forward and to get really excited about for the new year. So I agree with Chris that they kind of had to give us some tidbits. Now, maybe they went like a little bit overboard, like 10% overboard or 12% overboard, but for the most part, I kind of needed a rudder here into what the new season was going to be because I had no idea and I needed something to get excited about. And I am excited about a few things. I'm excited about Iris stepping up. I'm excited about Barry not being the dumb butt that he's always been. And I don't know if that'll be true or not, but if he does indeed come back wiser and older, that will just be better for the show.
So they have said that there's not supposed to be any sort of speedster villain. And SP, do you like the fact that there's no speedster villain?
I think there's enough non-speedster villains in the Flash's life in the comics to make a go at it without having a speedster villain. Now, I think more speedster team-ups would be awesome. It'd be great if they kept this current speedster relationships in the other dimensions going. That would be cool. I would enjoy that, but I don't need another speedster villain. We've done it enough already, and it's permeated throughout other shows as well, like Legends of Tomorrow. So time to see something new.
Chris?
Completely agree. If you read the Flash comic books and things like that, while some of Barry's biggest enemies are in fact speedsters, he has lots of rogues that are not in fact speedsters. So let's feature someone, let's make someone be the big bad who is not a super speedster. This is what, season 4 of the Flash? Yeah, season 4. We're due for someone who's not the big bad speedster. They did a real good job with some of them, but it's something fresh, it's something new, and I think it's necessary because look at a lot of the fan contingent, including us, who went, oh, season 3, another speedster, and there was the exaggerated eye roll, then like, because they don't have anything else to do, of course. No, there's plenty of rogues. Let's play with some of those, and let's not give some of our best rogues away to other shows, too.
Yeah, like Captain Cold and Heatwave. Yeah, I, too, was like last season, like, really? Oh, wow, it's the speedster villain. I wonder what's going to happen. Will Barry have to run faster? Oh, look, he has to run faster. I do like the fact that it's the Thinker. The writers have said that Barry is the fastest man going up against the fastest mind. So I'm looking forward to that. And fortunately, we don't know every single thing that's going to happen with everybody. And, you know, Cisco, what we know so far is, first off, he's really getting into being Vibe. He's got the outfit, and his hair is magnificent. Every single promo I have watched, his hair is like, it's like right past the shoulders. It's very thick and lush. And I wonder what his conditioner is. But Chris, do you have any thoughts about what we could see with Cisco this season?
I think you're going to finally see him grow into that superhero role. We started to see at the end of this last season, but now, especially with Barry gone, they've kind of hinted at the fact that he has to play Vibe more in the city. He's going out there more as a hero and less as support. So I think we're going to see him finally embrace that role and maybe not be a full-time superhero, but maybe like a 75% time superhero.
SP?
Yeah, I'll go a little bit further. I think we're going to explore Cisco's powers a little bit more. I think he's going to be more of a front line in the fight against evil here. And he's still needed back in the Flash cave, you know, back at the industry with the roof that should be falling in by now. But I think he needs to go forward with that. I think he needs to hone his skills with Gypsy. I think Gypsy is going to return. And as far as his hair product, I think we need to ask the Verify Cody Goff for that, because as a man who uses a lot of product himself over at Game Life Balance US, also found at GonnaGeek.com, he could identify what Cisco actually uses.
Maybe they're hair product buddies. They could go to the same place for all we know.
Yeah. One last thing about Cisco, by the way, is I'm excited to see his T-shirts this year, especially as he moves ahead with his own superpowers. Does he still give homage to other superheroes and other geeky things that has been going on for a couple of years now? So I'm excited to see his T-shirts.
Ooh, I do know Gypsy will return for at least 2 episodes. So I do like the fact that he's kind of sort of got a girlfriend. I mean, it's not long distance. It's actually interdimensional relationships. I wonder how they talk to each other. Like, is there an app for that?
Interdimensional cell phone, patented by Cisco.
Yeah, patented by Cisco. You know, one of the things about them is they both can travel through the dimensions. So it's just like, I want to say a long distance relationship where it's like the college across town, where you're just getting in the car and you're driving an hour across town to the other college sort of thing. I don't think it's a big deal for them because they both can do it.
Do you think that'll be any sort of side effect because they keep opening breaches here to breach there? And
oh yeah, we've already reached that point. I mean, the whole Flashpoint thing. Although I would hate for Cisco and Gypsy to be the cause of something like Flashpoint, that would really suck. But yeah, that many breaches in space-time is bound to break something else wide open.
I'm kind of thinking, you guys remember Star Trek The Next Generation? There was an episode they did about a section of space that had too much warp travel through it. So literally, every time they tried to go to warp, it tore space apart more, it damaged the ships. I wonder if we're going to get something come into play with them constantly tearing apart the breaches to go to other dimensions, to other Earths, whether we have something similar, as there's unforeseen consequences, it does damage to both worlds, or they kind of have to backtrack and stop doing it.
I do remember that, Chris, and I think I'd have to go back and rewatch to make sure, but I think it entailed all of known space for Star Trek The Next Generation. They actually put governors on their starships where they could only go to Warp 5 or something like that because they couldn't risk opening up more damage to the warp continuum. I think I'm right on that. And yeah, I can see them doing the same thing where they actually have to curtail it. And maybe that'll be the end of their relationship, or maybe one will decide to go and live with the other. I don't know, but they're meant to be together. It's like the science babies over on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. If they don't get together, I'm going to riot, because Cisco deserves happiness. Gypsy is cool. I think they make a great couple.
Agreed. Someone who has been unlucky in love every single season has been Caitlin. It's sort of become the joke that if you're a love interest of Caitlin, you're going to die. Last season, Julian didn't die, but he's not around. And we ended with her struggling with being Killer Frost. And we do see her back on the team. Do we want to spend the entire season struggling with her, or do we want her to kind of have dealt with it when the season starts? Chris?
I'll take lead.
Oh, you want to take it? Sure.
I do, because I've been reading this in the Justice League America comics. It's different, right? It's not the exact story, but Caitlin Snow has been dealing with some issues which are a little bit different. It's heat sickness in the comics compared to what she is here. And I just see them playing with that for a long time. Now, they might end up curing her by the end of the season. I don't know. It really depends on what their endpoint is. Now, Mark Guggenheim and company, they've come out, Berlanti and all the rest of the producers, and say, we know where Arrow's going to end. I don't know if they made that same statement with Arrow, but if they have to know where they want Caitlin to be at the end. And so if it's 7 seasons that they think they're going to get, if they think they're going to get 5 seasons, at some point they have to figure this out. And either Caitlin needs to be cured or she needs to move on off the show in some way, shape, or form. So I think this is important, but I don't think it's going to be a 1 episode deal. I think it's going to take a while.
I like that idea. I think it is going to take a while, like SP said, and I'm not sure I don't think she ever gets cured. I think they're going to do a whole like X-Men mutant kind of thing where you have to grow to have an acceptance of your powers or something like that. And she'll have to maybe sort of realize that her going crazy like that because she got powers might not all necessarily be related to her powers.
Think about, how her eyes go in and out like that. Think about how much money she could make as a model with different clothes and scenes in the background. I mean, she could sell a lot of product like that. So I think this is a good thing for her ultimately.
Well, I do hope it's a struggle. Like she does have to like balance it because I kind of see her struggle is sort of like I sort of compare it to like Bruce Banner and the Hulk sort of a deal to where, she has to like manage herself to where hopefully she can like become Killer Frost and then calm down and sort of be Caitlin Snow. One of the things I do not want this season is yet another boyfriend for her. I want her to just be Caitlin and to hang out and to do her thing and to just not have to be identified through a man. That is the one thing I definitely want this season.
This is few and far between because this is a CW network. I can think of one character off the top of my head that this has worked for, and it's Dinah Drake over on Arrow, which they don't want to connect to anybody right now. Other than that, I think anybody's fair game, unfortunately, as you said, because this is the CW and there is that demographic.
So did you guys ever watch the cartoon X-Men Evolution? Anyone here? So
No.
if you didn't, it was just a little background. It was the X-Men in high school and stuff, but they made it so that the X-Men who had different features like Nightcrawler, they had what they called an image inducer, which was like a holographic watch. I think you're going to see either Cisco or Caitlin make something like that makes her appearance revert back to normal because they'll not be able to suppress her powers, but they'll be able to make it look like she doesn't have them so that eventually she can become part of the public again and not be sitting there going, I'm Killer Frost, blah.
Well, isn't that what they tried already?
Well, that was a power suppressor that they gave her that suppressed the powers. This is something that's basically just a hologram over top of her.
So like what HR had?
Very similar to what HR had, yes.
Oh, okay.
They've already got that in the tool tricks. So yeah, I could see that happening. But then again, do you really want to mask who you really are?
She does. And if you're going to assume a heroic persona or a villain persona at some point in time, and you want to try and have both a regular life and that superpowered one, I would think so. It's the same concept as why Spider-Man and Batman wear masks. And same with Barry if he ever kept it on. Sorry, I had to get that shot.
This is interesting because if you go over on Arrow again, you got Laura Lance from Earth 2 that is in there, and she's a delicious villain. They might want to try that with Caitlin. I don't know, but at the same time, I would prefer Caitlin to be a good person and a hero rather than a villain or an anti-hero.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they're going to do with her. I tend to think they're going to keep her on the heroic train, or maybe they'll go like the anti-villain kind of thing. I don't know.
So someone we really don't have any clue about is Wells. I've just heard that Tom Cavanaugh is coming back this season. When we ended, HR, sadly died, but then we had Harry from Earth 2 still around. So do we want a Wells? And if so, what type of Wells do we want?
Ooh.
Chris?
Yes, we want Wells, and make it be Harry, because I love the sarcastic, begrudgingly seeming to like everyone, but truly does like everyone Wells. I think that one is very interesting, and it's so different from the Wells we've had in the past. That's why I've really always enjoyed Harry.
I think we're going to get the HG from Universe 37, Earth 37, and he's going to come back as Ed Stevens. And Ed Stevens is going to come and he's going to want to own a bowling alley. And he's going to be a lawyer. And I think that's the Wells that we're going to get this time.
Can we have him come from Earth C-137? Because that'd be awesome.
There's only 52 Earths here.
Well, says who? Rick and Morty's taught me there's infinite Earths.
Well, the CW universe says 52. That's all there is. They even said that last year in an episode. There's just 52. I haven't found any more. Just 52.
I'll be happy if we just get a Wells, any Wells. I love Tom Cavanaugh. Um, I I just think he's one of the best parts of the show. He always brings something to it. Um, I've read interviews where he really likes not knowing and being surprised and everything. I do eventually would like the original Harrison Wells. We never got original Harrison Wells. We've because we've gotten Reverse Flash posing as Harrison Wells. We've got Harry from Earth 2 and then from like last year. So I don't know, something closer to original Harrison Wells would be interesting to see because we've never met him.
So
No, he died.
He's dead. I think we could also get a Harrison Wells that's from Earth 51, whose real name is actually Dan Dorian, and he'll bring his little brother, John Dorian, with him, and his best friend, Christopher Turk, so they can go, Eagle! Throughout the show. Sorry, I had to get a Scrubs reference, too.
Listener, if you don't understand, what Chris and I both did was we gave references to Tom Cavanaugh's previous shows. I chose Ed and Chris chose Scrubs, and that's what we were doing. Yeah, I love Tom Cavanaugh in any iteration. That was my point. And I don't care which version it is. If I have a preference, I like a fun, loving, that means well Harrison Wells in however you say his name, HG, whatever Earth he comes from. That is the one that I like. And it really hurt the fact that we lost that specific one. But there's Infinite Earths, and we're going to get another one because the show just can't exist without Tom Cavanaugh. He's awesome, and he deserves a good show, and he's on it. So, thumbs up.
Well, Barry Allen is not the only speedster. We have Wally West. And I guess the big thing is, what do we want to see from him, and is there enough room in Central City for 2 speedsters? SP?
So the comics have multiple, even Wally Wests at the moment. At least the last that I've read. I'm a little bit behind. But there is, and that's more than one city too. But there's enough room in that. Now, this is a TV show with a certain number of characters. And if you get too many characters, it's going to be difficult. I think there's room enough for 2 speedsters, but I think they're going to be set on separate quests. I think they both have different expertises. They both have specific things that each of them are better at. And I think those benefits, those skills, those traits are going to be used to the maximum in each other for different reasons this year. But it is a team, so we'll see how it goes. And I wouldn't mind a certain speedster from Earth 2 to come back as well. I think that would be awesome.
I think there's plenty of room for multiple speedsters because they've done it forever in the Flash comics. There's multiple Flashes in Central City. There's multiple Flashes on the Justice League at one point in time. So it's not unheard of. The thing that really kind of bums me out is if you read the Flash comics, Wally West got a long time to be the Flash, the only one. It was years where Wally was the only one that was in that role that was honoring his uncle's memory. In this case, Barry's not actually his uncle yet, but soon to be uncle, I guess. So what kind of bums me out there is in the show, we're probably going to get like an episode and a half where Kid Flash gets to be the Flash and then steps back to being Kid Flash, which is kind of different from the comics where Wally, once he was the Flash, he was always the Flash. There were just multiple Flashes. So I'm kind of bummed to see the step back for it, but I can live with it. I'm looking forward to having them both there. I'm really curious to see what they give Wally to do this season now that he's had an entire off season of being the only Flash to grow into things and have built up his own confidence. I predict you'll see some overly dramatic moments between Barry and Wally as they both have solutions for something, but not necessarily both agreeing on what those solutions are, and both think they are experienced enough to do it on their own.
No, don't leave out Jessie, which is what I was talking about.
Well,
too,
is
Jessie
she
Wells.
staying? I don't know if she's staying on our Earth or our universe or whatever right now.
No, I don't think she is. I think she is going back or went back to Earth 2. And I think that they're going to have a long distance relationship, but I think it's going to mean something for the younger Flash here in Central City. So that's going to be a storyline that comes out eventually, unless they completely broke ties with the actor. I didn't know if they did.
Yeah, with Wally, I just hope it's not, him and Barry clashing heads all the time. That they actually do give him something to do. Um, if they don't, then they need to send him off to Hub City or something. And uh,
Send him off to Star City. He'll be useful over there.
oh yeah,
Well, I mean, somebody's got to braid, the hair.
oh okay, that would be funny. So before we move on, do we have any last predictions or thoughts for season 4? Chris?
There's going to be another speedster that shows up as a villain, even if it's a villain of the week thing, because they can't help themselves.
SP?
I think somebody from the show, and I don't know who yet, I think somebody from the show is going to start a on-again, off-again relationship with somebody from the Supergirl show.
I like Steven Johndrew's predictions in the chat room. Barry and Iris have relationship troubles.
Oh, no.
I am shocked, Steven. Just shocked.
That would never happen.
Yeah, there's already a report that they're going to have to go to like a couples therapy or something. And then once they're married, can they stay married? Which, yeah, it's Barry Allen and Iris. I just want the fun back. I missed the fun of seasons 1 and 2. So they said that they are going to go that way, bring the light and the color back. As long as they do that, I'll be happy. All right. Are we ready to move on into Supergirl then?
I am ready.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So Supergirl, season 2, which is the first season on CW. Remember, it started on CBS and then it's on CW. Season 2 ended with Kara defeating the Daxamite invasion. She had to say bye-bye to her boyfriend, Mon-El, which makes her upset. She has an interesting friendship with Lena Luthor, who we found out is an actual Luthor, by blood. Also during last season, Alex, who's Kara's sister, came out, and the season ended with her proposing to her girlfriend, Maggie. And also the season ended with a reveal that another pod escaped Krypton. And it's been made official that pod contained Rain. And Rain will be the season-long villain for season 3. The writers have said it's supposed to be a different type of journey. Rain doesn't know that she's Rain when we meet her over the course of the season. We're supposed to watch her develop into a villain and then be a villain and then probably defeated. When season 3 begins, Kara is supposed to be sort of trying to still deal with being, Supergirl and balancing with her human feelings and such. We're going to meet new villains like Bloodsport and Psy. We are supposed to have Saturn Girl. Allura returns somehow. Alex may or may not get married because the actress who played Maggie is no longer recurring. Cat Grant will not return full time. That is known, so that makes me sad. Lena Luthor will have a major part because the actor was promoted to a series regular. And the sisters are supposed to be a big part of the crossover, according to Kreisberg. And Mon-El is likely to return, according to some news articles. And we are supposed to meet the father of John Jones. And that so far is what we really know what's supposed to come this season. So unlike Flash, I don't feel like I have watched season 3 of Supergirl. So for me, there's still a lot to look forward to. One of the things, though, this is season 3, and I've been reading that it's still supposed to go back to Kara and Alex. And I've seen some previews where they're having the conversation where Alex actually says to Kara, Kara Danvers has saved me just more like Supergirl. So it seems like Kara is going to still have the superhero human balance. And I guess my first question is, do we want more of this?
More of it being balanced, you mean?
Well, no, she's still supposed to be trying to find a balance between being a superhero and being a person with feelings.
So based off the nature of all of these CW shows, we're never going to get rid of that because they all struggle with the, I have to be the Green Arrow, but I also have to be Oliver Queen, or I have to be the Flash and I have to be Barry Allen. I mean, the only show where they don't really struggle with that is Legends, because they don't really have a personal life outside of their life on the ship. So I think it's going to stay there. Do I think we need to keep that? No, I'd love to have her finally find that perfect balance, be confident in her role of, okay, I know I can be Kara and I know I can be Supergirl and I know how these things all need to lay out.
I think that ultimately the show is going to go to a threesome relationship, and that's not meant to be romantic in any way. It's a friendship between Kara, Alex, and Lena. I do believe it's going to go that way. And right now, Kara and Lena are going to have an even more bonding relationship, and that's because of just different things that have happened. Cat Grant is not going to be around as much, and they're going to self-mentor a little bit between the two. And I think eventually Alex will be brought in there. So you're going to have the three of them that are going to be a tight core group of the show. I think that would be a great way for the show to evolve over the next few seasons. I think we're going to see more of that in this year. So if part of that is including Kara finding her own way, yeah, I could see that, but she's still going to have to come back to center from time to time. And I see Lena and Alex being a big part of that.
So you think Lena's going to stay a good guy then? You don't think she's going to turn?
That I'm hoping that's the way it's going to go, just because of the feel of the show and the audience of the show that I see. Now, I completely understand that is definitely a way the character can go, but I think they might turn it on its head a little bit and throw Lena in the good bin for this particular show instead of the bad bin. So, I mean, it could happen.
I think it's all building to Lena flipping. Remember, she's a Luthor. Luthors hate Supergirl, Superman. They hate super-powered people. Now, I think at first, she's going to be okay with it. She'll find out that Kara's Supergirl, and there's going to be some lingering resentment and things like that, and she'll seem like she gets over it, but it's always going to be in the back of the head. And I think eventually they're going to come to a difference in opinion on how something needs to be done that puts them on opposite sides of things. And Lena might oppose her with the best of intentions to try and save the city or something like that, but eventually it's going to devolve into the same thing you see between Lex Luthor and Clark Kent. I see them very much echoing that. I think what you're going to see is, let's go to another show for a second, Smallville. Clark and Lex, friends for a long time, and then they split because Lex's ambitions get the better of him and he starts making choices and trying to dig into things that Clark doesn't want him to know about or doesn't agree with. I think you see something very similar with Supergirl between Lena and Kara. Do I think that seems redundant compared to other things that have been done? Yeah, but it's good dramatic TV the way they look at it.
I know, and I would fully expect to go it that way. I'm thinking that instead of going the Mean Girls route, which is it's the CW, that's kind of way it would come across, that if they choose not to do that, I think they would keep a lot more of their audience, basically. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I think the three of them are going to have some issues, positive or negatively, as we go forward.
Yeah, I don't want them to go the whole Luthor, evil route. I really hope they keep Lena a little bit more nuanced. I hope there's sort of like that doubt that, oh, is she going to turn out? Oh, wait. Oh, no, she's still good. Yay. So I really hope they just don't copy and paste a Superman storyline onto Supergirl. Because that would be really disappointing.
Well, I think it's more of touching on the fact that most Luthors are irredeemable in the eyes of folks. They always do something, and even when they try not to, they end up eventually falling down that path. So I guess it's more the thought that the Luthor family is almost kind of fated to be damned.
And I can see both points, really. And so I think the season is going to tell us a lot.
I think they're going to play with the fact that folks like myself and other people are like, oh, they're definitely going to make this flip happen. And if it does happen, I think they're going to stretch out the tease of it and little hints that go, oh, is it going to happen? And then they'll back off of it by making it seem like everything's right. This could be a multiple season burn for all we know.
Right.
That's true. Now, something that's supposed to just happen this season, and that's Rain. And not a lot is known about Rain, even like in the comic book, besides that she's like a world killer. But according to this season, that she's supposed to develop into the villain. So my question is, how do we think that Rain would all of a sudden become into the villain? Like, how do we think it's going to be a parallel development, or do you think they're going to like meet Kara and Rain meet, and then somehow that sets Rain off this path?
I have no idea because I don't know enough about this character to theorize. That's a bad answer. I know. I'm sorry, guys.
No,
I apologize.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a little bit simplified. So I think while you might get a goody-goody relationship to start, it's going to flip really quick because they need to basically get to the meat of the season and know who the villain is up front. So I would say within the first 2 or 3 episodes, you're going to see Rain as a full-fledged villain.
Oh, okay. Well, someone who's supposed to be back, and that's Allura. So how do we think she's back? Do we think she's alive, dead, and or like dead and meaning we see her as a flashback, she's a vision, or she's some sort of hologram?
I mean, recast as well, yes?
Yes. Erica Durance is now playing Allura because the actor who originally played Allura is busy.
I've missed Erica Durance. I'm happy she's back.
Could be a life model decoy.
Don't cross the streams,
Hey-ho.
SP. Don't cross the streams.
In a surprising role, that's interesting. I guess it could be a clone. I mean, going back to the Man of Steel, it could be a clone.
I think it's going to be a combination of flashbacks for something. She's going to be involved with something involving Rain's background, something similar to that. And then you might get some kind of recorded message or something like that in the future, or you find out she's got a program in the Fortress similar to what she had inside the DEO where they had a hologram of her there. I don't know that you'll actually see her alive and kicking in the present day.
That makes sense.
Hard to tell. Yeah. They say surprising new role. I don't know if that would be surprising, but then again, they could be overhyping it too.
Well, it's surprising because she was Lois in Smallville, so like crossing the streams. You know how much they would be tickled if they could get Tom Welling to show up in some kind of role on this show also.
Oh, but he's on Lucifer.
Side note, they did kind of hint that he would be semi-willing to do Superman on The Flash as a spin-off, as a one-off or something, which could be kind of awesome. We might actually get him in the suit.
Ooh. I know he's looking good because I see promos of Lucifer and he's looking darn fine. Oh my goodness. Quick question. Do we even care about James anymore?
No.
Do we remember who James is?
He's a photographer.
The person that ran the newspaper but spent all his days at the DEA and as the Guardian. Yeah, no wonder newspapers aren't making money anymore. I don't really care too much about, and that's sad because the actor has so much potential, but the character was driven into the ground, really.
It was unnecessary to make him be a superhero. They were going, oh no, James doesn't fit with all this superheroing and the DEO stuff. Let's make him be one. And yeah, I guess it sort of makes sense to try and make it so that they all cross over together. But when all of your characters do everything at the same time, you start to run into the same problem they had on Arrow, where there were way too many characters and you could never focus on a specific core that you needed to at one time without short shifting the rest of them.
Yeah, I really wish they would have kept James as the boss. So that way, because Kara was supposed to be trying to balance her work and her human work and her superhero work. And we saw her, I don't know, report like maybe 3 times last season. I have no idea. I guess the DEO must pay well because she has a nice apartment. Because because I don't know how else she could be supporting herself. But yeah, they really do need to do a course correction with James, because making James a superhero influenced the direction of Wynn. And so now, do we like the way Wynn's going? Do we have any thoughts about Wynn or John Jones or anything else with the DEO?
So real quick before we get off of the James topic, I see in the chat room one Stephen John Drew chimes in and says, "But Michelle, he had weights in the office. That shows he was there for a bit, right?"
Yeah, he was a bit, and he was there working out enough that where Cat Grant could smell him or something. Like, I guess he wasn't very hygienic when he was in the office.
He didn't wipe down the bench when he was done.
Yeah, like, which is very rude, by the way. And I mean, so like, what is he like doing flex with one and like typing with the other? Like, just did he even do any work?
So he's typing with one hand and doing curls with the other, doing like lifts.
You know,
Yes,
truck
make
drivers
it
that do
happen.
that. It's not very. I don't know how productive that really is. As far as James goes, I mean, they opened up the door to the Guardian, so they have to close that door somehow, or they have to take him out of the newspaper. And it's James. He needs to be in the newspaper. I don't know how they're going to end this, but he can't keep flippy flopping between the three entities anymore. The DEO, being Guardian on the street as his individual vigilante, and working in the newspaper. And with Cat Grant not being a season regular, somebody's got to run the newspaper. So it seems to be a good idea for him to pull a Thea and just hang up the suit and just work in the newspaper. It would be good, but we'll see.
What do we want to see with John Jones, the Martian Manhunter?
I want to see him be happy.
Mm-hmm.
His life has sucked. Let's be honest. He finds pockets of happiness, but that's a character that I've come to really like. The mentor figure he's been for both Kara and her sister, and trying to hold the DEO together. I want to see him get a chance to be happy.
I agree.
Too.
The dude needs to be happy, and he needs to have a romantic. I mean, this is a CW show, so he needs to have a positive romantic life, not these interplanetary relationship that he had going on.
But at least with him, it's like a psychic connection. And it's probably, he's got like that 10-minute delay because the brainwaves have to go to Mars and then come back. So, I mean, he does have a girlfriend, which is good.
Yeah, and he does, granted, he does have a lot going on at work as being the head of the DEO. So I think that is the proper perspective to have. But I also think he needs to get Alex to the point where she could take over more competently in the future, if necessary. She's done it successfully a couple of times. She's not a dumb individual. She's made smart choices with the knowledge that she's had at hand, but a little bit more in the director leadership role. It's different from being the leadership of an assault team to being the director of an organization. And I think I think Alex needs to get that perspective. And if John Jones could give that to her, so that when he does go off planet for whatever reason, that she could be competently taking in charge of an entire planetary invasion, I think it would be a good thing. So he needs to be that mentor to Alex that she needs in a dad capacity as well as work. And John Jones needs a little off time, but not too much. I mean, he is the head of the DEO. So it's a little bit of conflicting things for me right now. And again, don't know how much of the storyline they have mapped out for Supergirl, where they want John Jones to be at the end. But I think I want to see him happy. Absolutely.
One of the things I want to see this season, I've watched Supergirl from the beginning, and one of the things that's been teased since season 1 is the Legion of Superheroes. And we've seen the Ring. We have Mon-El. Mon-El is supposed to come back, and we had the casting of Saturn Girl. So, gentlemen, do we think we'll finally get what I want, and we finally get the Legion of Superheroes?
I think you get a reference to it, maybe. I think there's a concern of trying to actually put the Legion together, because then you have cynical fanboys like myself who go, that's just the Guardians of the Galaxy. This is dumb. It feels like they're trying to rip it off, when that's not the case. but you get some folks that are saying that. And
I hope if they do it, I hope it's more than what was seen on Legends of Tomorrow, because we only got that group for even an episode, maybe. Really, that's all we got over there. So I hope it's more than an episode. But I agree with Chris, is if you do it too much, then all of a sudden, is this the Supergirl show or is this the Legion of Superheroes show?
that being said, Smallville actually did a really good Legion of Superheroes show and JSA show, actually. So it is doable, and I think it would be fun to do in here. But I think if it happens, it's not going to be this season, but next season. They'll plant the seeds this season to have that appearance where Mana will say something about a team he's joined when he happens back in or something like that.
Okay. Because I'm tired of the teasing. I really am. I want to see some payoff. It's season 3. I want my payoff. Anything else you'd like to see for Supergirl season 3? SP.
This is, well, I guess this is just a personal preference, but I would like to see a Green Lantern.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah, it could be any one of them. Just an acknowledgement that they exist in the universe. And I think because she is in the other dimension, not an Earth Prime in the Arrowverse, I think it would be doable over there. So, be nice.
See one or get a reference to Green Lantern.
I would like to see one on the screen.
Okay.
Chris?
I'd like to see more of Kara the Reporter, actually, because they've done a good job on past shows and other superhero shows of showing that balance of things, and they made a big deal in season 2 of her transition from being Cat Grant's secretary and Cat Grant's go-to for a lot of things to kind of striking out on her own in regards to her work life and learning how to be a reporter, how to get the scoop. I want to see her do more with that that's more than just a convenient plot tool to get her to go talk to Lena Luthor.
That is a solid point, and I do agree. You know, this is one of my favorites shows just in general, not just from, the CW and what we talk about. This is like one of my favorite just shows. And I really think that this season, they really need to come on their own. It'll, the transition between season 1 and season 2 from changing networks, I think they handled that as well as they could. But now they know that they're on the CW. Now they know, their budget and everything. And I think this is the season where they can really show, growth with Kara and Alex and everybody. And I think this could be the best season yet for Supergirl. And I hope I am right.
I hope you're right too, Michelle, because this show deserves a solid. And I think you're right. This is the solid year for it.
So finally, we are at the point where we get to talk about episodes of Arrow that are starting to come up. That's right. Next week, we are finally going to be able to get into Arrow season 6. Season 6, episode 1 is called Fallout. It will air Thursday, October 12th, 2017. And this is get ready for this really detailed, lots of spoilers in here. The summary is, hold on. Oliver deals with the fallout of the explosions on the island.
Oh my.
Oh my goodness.
Oh wow. I did not expect that to happen. No, we all knew that was going to happen.
I
They
mean,
were not going to just skip ahead a bunch of months and do nothing on the details of it.
Like, literally, there's fallout. Like, the blasts were nuclear.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
I was thinking they were going to have to go around and collect Nuka-Cola caps.
Nice pull. I like it.
The episode's directed by James Bamford, one of our favorites, and written by the big guns themselves, Mark Guggenheim and Wendy Miracle.
Showrunner herself, and then Mark Guggenheim, is it working like there's showrunners and then Mark Guggenheim's above all the showrunners of all the shows? Is that how it goes? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they've split things out. He's credited as executive producer on everything?
Right. So it's like the showrunner does like the everyday sort of deal, is there in the office every day and in charge of everything every single day. But Mark can just go over there one day and then go over there another day and then go upstairs and then fly to Vancouver or whatever. Because, you know, bigger umbrella.
There's Berlanti, but, you know, he's even bigger yet. But you have Clemmer, you have Guggenheim, Miracle. Well, you know what would be interesting to me, and I might put this together, is all the different showrunners and how they interact and stuff like that. But who knows, that information might not be available. You know, I will tweet my buddy Mark Guggenheim and he'll let me know.
Name drop.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. It's going to be a fun episode to watch because all our theories are going to be answered within the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, probably.
I hope so.
Who's alive? Who's dead? What the rest of the season is going to look like? We're going to know all of that all right up front. And we're going to go, okay. Next up, Vigilante. Who are you?
I hope so. Well, the Starling Tribune is part of a network called the Gonna Geek Network, and we have a lot of different shows. Chris, what is one of the shows that we have on the network?
So we always try to highlight one specific show each week to kind of give you guys a taste of something else that's out there, because there's 23 plus shows on the network. There's a variety of different things, and sometimes we like to guide people to some of our newer stuff. We have a newer addition to the network, the Just One More Fix show, and we want to point you guys towards episode 55, the Kyle Chenier interview. After playing Blood in the Chocolate, the Just One More Fix crew sit down and talk with any award winner, Kyle Chenier, to talk about RPGs, game design elements, and other geekiness. So if you're a fan of tabletop games and things like that, strongly encourage you to head on over to GonnaGeekNetwork.com, click on the button for Just One More Fix, and check out this episode and their entire back catalog covering a whole bunch of other tabletop specific items. Happy to have them here. But looking at the time, it's time for us to start wrapping things up. So a big thank you to all of the live listeners who participate in the Geeks.live chat, and also to all of you who download and replay the episode at a later date. Don't forget, you can find the podcast and the replays on YouTube and on GonnaGeek.com.
And remember, you can always catch us live as we record on www.geeks.live at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific on Sundays. Remember, you can find all of our past shows on Gonna Geek, and there's just a lot of great things going on. So hit up everybody at the contact information, and they will be glad to get back to you. And don't forget about the Gonna Geek Facebook page. Of course, I can't see it. It's a mystery to me because I'm not on Facebook anymore, but I know Chris and Michelle are, and I know there's been some activity over on the Gonna Geek Facebook page. So go check that out, and it'll tell you all the occurrences that are going on, in addition to the schedule of live shows at GonnaGeek.com.
We would love to hear from you. We are the Starling Tribune on Facebook and Instagram, at Starling Tribune on Twitter, and you can call us at 612-888-KU. That's 612-888-2283. Well, this wraps another great episode, guys. Any last words before we sign off? At Stargate Pioneer.
Hashtag, let's get it on.
At the Chris Farrell.
Hashtag type and lift.
And I am at Michelle Ely, signing off with hashtag Cisco's Luscious Locks.
Ooh, good one.
Oracle, I think we're done here.
This was the Starling Tribune. You can leave us feedback at GonnaGeek.com or check out our archive at StarlingTribune.com. Visit GonnaGeek.com for more podcasts. Music by Kevin MacLeod can be found at Incompetech.com. This podcast is not produced or maintained by the CW, Warner Brothers Television, CTV, or DC Comics. All characters, stories, and situations are the property of Time Warner. No infringement is intended. We will see you for the next episode of CW's Arrow.